Hello students, this is your economics teacher INR. I hope you are well and utilizing the time wisely. In the previous class, you learned about meaning of money, functions of money and supply of money. Today, you are going to learn about quantity theories of money, meaning of inflation and types of inflation. Students, please watch this video very carefully till the end. Okay, let us enter into the topics. First, we will discuss quantity theories of money. Students, take the page number 82. Quantities theories of money. Quantity theories of money explain the relationship between quantity of money and value of money. Here, we are given two approaches of quantity theory of money, like Fisher transaction approach and Cambridge cash balance approach. First, Fisher's quantity theory of money. The quantity theory of money is a very old theory. It was first propounded in 1588 by an Italian economist Avancetti, but the credit for popularizing this theory in recent years rightly belonging to the well-known American economist Irving Fisher, who published his book The Purchasing Power of Money in 1911. He gave it a quantitative form in terms of his famous equation of exchange. In its original form, the quantity theory states, price always change in exact proportion to changes in the quantity of money. If the amount of money is doubled, prices double. If the amount of money is halved, price fall to half their original level. The main point about the quantity theory is that price level changes because of change in this quantity of money. Equation of exchange. The quantity theory of money has been put forward in the form of an equation known as the equation of exchange. It is also known as Fisher's equation. The general form of equation given by Fisher is MV is equal to PT, where M is equal to money supply or quantity of money, V is equal to velocity of money, P is equal to price level, T is equal to volume of transaction. The left hand side of the equation represents total volume of money supply in the economy, and the right side of the equation means the total value of goods and service produced. The right side of the equation also represents the total demand for money. The equation tells when the supply of money increases, other things being equal, there will be a rise in the price level. That means a fall in the value of money. For example, when M is doubled, P or price will be doubled. The term velocity denotes how many times money changes hands. For example, when 100 rupee note changes 5 hands in the process of exchange, then the currency note has propounded rupees 500 worth of transaction, the velocity of circulation being 5. In reality, the velocity of money is not always constant. Fisher's equation says that the value of money is inversely related to its quantity. Fisher points out that in a country during any given period of time, the total quantity of money MV will be equal to the total value of all goods and services bought and sold PT. MV is equal to PT. Supply of money is equal to demand for money. This equation is referred to as cash transaction. It is expressed as P is equal to MV divided by T, which implies that the quantity of money determines the price level and the price level in its turn varies directly with the quantity of money provided V and T remains constant. Nowadays, a large proportion of money consists of checks, bills and other forms of credit instruments. So some economists are of the opinion that the above types of money should be taken into account while considering the quantity of money. So the above equation considered only currency money, but in a modern economy, banks demand deposits or credit money and its velocity play a vital part in business. Therefore, Fisher extended his original equation of exchange to include bank deposits M1 and its velocity V1. The revised equation was Pt is equal to mv plus m dash v dash. P is equal to mv plus m dash v dash divided by t. From the revised equation, it is evident that the price level is determined by a quantity of money in circulation M, B, the velocity of circulation of money V, and C, the velocity of bank credit of money M1, the velocity of circulations of credit money V1, and the volume of trade T. Student, this equation explains in diagrammatic illustration. Please take the page number 83, see the diagram. From figure A shows the effects of changes in the quantity of money on the price level. When the quantity of money is OM, the price level is OP. When the quantity of money is doubled or increased from OM to OM2, the price level is also doubled from OP to OP2. Further, when the quantity of money is increased fourfold to OM4, the price level also increased by 4 times to OP4. This relationship is expressed by the curve OP is equal to f of m or functions of money from the origins at 45 degree. From figure B shows the inverse relationship between the quantity of money and the value of money, where the value of money is taken on the vertical axis when the quantity of money is OM. The value of money is OI divided by P, but with the doubling of the quantity of money to OM2, the value of money becomes 1 half of what it was before, OI divided by P2. But with the quantity of money increasing by fourfold to OM4, the value of money is reduced or decreased by OI by P4. This inverse relationship between the quantity of money and the value of money is shown by downward sloping curve IO by P is equal to functions of money. Second, Cambridge approach or cash balance approach. This approach gives there are two types of equation. One is Marshall equation and another one is Gin's equation. First, Marshall equation from Cambridge approach or cash balance approach. The Marshall equation is expressed as M is equal to KPY, where M is the quantity of money, Y is the aggregate real income of the community, P is purchasing power of money. K represents the fractions of the real income which the public desires to hold in the form of money. Thus, the price level P is equal to M by KY, or the value of money is 1 by P is equal to KY by M. The value of money in terms of this equation can be found out by dividing the total quantity of goods which the public desires to hold out of the total income by the total supply of money. According to Marshall equation, the value of money is influenced not only by change in money supply but also by change in K. K means what? Fractions of real income. Gin's equation. Gin's equation is expressed as N is equal to Pk or P is equal to N by K, where N is the total supply of money, P is the general price level of consumption goods, K is the total quantity of consumption units the people decide to keep in the form of cash. Gin's indicates that K is the real balance because it is the measured to terms of consumer goods. According to Gin's, people's desire to hold money in unaltered by monetary authority. Already we learned the cash holding of the peoples. Some of the peoples holding some amount of cash in 3 types of motive. First one is a transaction motive, precautionary motive and speculative motives. So the price level and the value of money can be stabilized through regulating quantity of money N by the monetary authority. Later Gin's extended his equation in the following form: N is equal to P into K plus R K dash, or P is equal to N by K plus R K dash, where N is equal to total money supply, P is equal to price level of consumer goods. K is equal to people desire to hold money in hand in terms of consumer goods in the total income of them. R is equal to cash reserve ratio. K dash is equal to community's total monies deposit in bank in terms of consumer goods. In this extended equation also, Gibbs assume that K, K dash and R are constant. In this situation, price level P is changed directly and proportionately changing in money volume M. Secondly, you are going to learn about meaning of inflation. Students, take the page number 84. Inflation. Both inflation and deflation are evils of economy. So understanding of these is essential. According to Crowther, inflation is a state in which the value of money is falling. That is, prices are rising. So it is generally regarded that during a period of inflation, the price level will rise. It also described as a situation where too much of money chases too few goods, resulting in an abnormal increases of price level. Shapiro has defined inflation as a persistent and appreciable rise in the general level of prices, and Harry Johnson has defined it as a sustained rise in prices. However, we should remember one important point, that is, there can be inflation even without a rise in the price level. Inflation is a consistent and appreciable rise in the general price level. In other words, inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising and consequently the purchasing power of currency is falling. In short, inflation refers to a situation where the level of general prices records a rapid and substantial rise, causing the value of money to fall. Generally, the behavior of the general of price level is measured through wholesale price index. Next, types of inflation. There are some types of inflation: creeping inflation, walking inflation, running inflation, and galloping inflation or hyperinflation. First, creeping inflation. Creeping or persistent inflation. Since the end of the World War II, since 1945, there has been a tendency for prices and wages to push one another upwards. This situation has been described as creeping or persistent inflation. Creeping inflation is slow moving and very mild. The rise in the price will not be persistible but spread over a long period. This type of inflation is in no way dangerous to the economy. This is also known as mild inflation or moderate inflation. In short, it refers to a type of inflation where the price level increases slowly over a period of time. Second, walking inflation. Walking inflation denotes a rise in price level at a higher rate of creeping inflation. When price rise moderate and the annual inflation rate is a single digit, that is 3% up to 9%, it is called walking or trolling inflation. Third, running inflation. When the movement of prices is accelerated by more than 10% per annum, running inflation occurs. When price rise rapidly like the running of a horse at a rate of speed of 10% to 20% per annum, it is called running inflation. Next one is galloping inflation. This is a serious type of inflation. For example, it was experienced in Germany after World War I and in Hungary and China after World War II. In this situation, price rise to a very great extent at high speed and high price have to be paid even for cheap things, and money becomes quite worthless and new currency has to be introduced. This situation is known as galloping inflation or hyperinflation. When the level of price rises, every moment without a limit, that is hyperinflation. Galloping inflation or hyperinflation points out to unmanageably high inflation rates that run into 2 or 3 digit. By high inflation, the percentage of the same is almost 20% to 100% from an overall perspective. Next, demandful and cost push inflation. Demandful inflation refers to an excess of aggregate demand over aggregate supply of goods and services which generate inflationary rise in price level. In this situation, the supply of goods and services will not be increased because full employment level of output has already been achieved. Doubling the money supply will double the price level, etc. That is, inflation proceeds at the same rate at which is the money supply expands. Demand and supply play a crucial role in deciding the inflation levels in the society at all points of times. For instance, if the demand is high for a product and the supply is low, the price of the product increases. Next, cost pushed inflation. In developing economy, cost pushed inflation is determined by wage push and profit push factors. The wage push factor is related to payment of higher wages paid to the workers. In most of the countries, trade unions are very powerful and are demanding higher money wages from their employees. The payment of higher money wages contributes to higher cost of production. Then the employers tends to raise the prices of their goods. This is known as wage cut pushed inflation. This will be further aggravated by upward adjustment of wages. Similarly, profit push refers to the behavior of certain firms to raise price of their product to offset the rise in labor and production cost so as to earn higher profits. Here, when the cost of raw material and other inputs rises, inflation results. Increases in wage paid to labor also leads to inflation. Next, wage price spiral. Wage price spiral is used to explain the cause and effect relationship between rising wages and rising prices or inflation. Other types of inflation. First, currency inflation. The excess supply of money in circulation causes a rise in price level. Second, credit inflation. When banks are liberal in lending credits, the money supply increase and thereby rising prices. Third, deficit induced inflation. The deficit budget is generally financed through printing of currency by the Central Bank or Reserve Bank of India. As a result, price rise. Fourth, profit induced inflation. When the firm aim at higher profit, they fix the price with higher margin, so price go up. Fifth, scarcity induced inflation. Scarcity of goods happens either due to fall in production, that is farm goods, or due to hoardings and block marketing. This also pushes up the price. Sixth, tax induced inflation. Increase in the indirect taxes like excise duty, custom duty and sales tax may lead to rise in price. That's all for today. We will continue in the next class. Finish the assignment by clicking the link below.